Certainly, teaching religious studies classes, the two things that you're never supposed to talk about in polite conversation anyway are politics and religion. And so certainly in most humanities classes at DePaul, professors have to deal with controversial or provocative topics, and they have to find ways of engaging all of the students without alienating any particular student. And so one of the things that I do is begin every single class having students introduce themselves and telling me where they're from and giving a one-word description of themselves, their personality on that day. And I write each of those one-word descriptions down, and when everybody is done, I read them back to the class. And so you get this whole list of very interesting, some cliche, but some interesting descriptors, tired, anxious, excited, enthusiastic, responsible. Two students in the history of doing this did say that they were lazy. That was interesting. But what that does is, I think it helps create an atmosphere from the very beginning where the students are forced to get to know each other. I use small groups a lot, and sometimes I will count off, other times I will put students in small groups. I will change the dynamics of those small groups around. And sometimes you see small groups in class that work quite well. Sometimes you see others that are struggling, but I'm always there. And I think over the course of the quarter, especially given my emphasis on, even when I have to give kind of structured content, always trying to have some sort of a conversation, that generally speaking, my students and I tend to create a rapport with one another, which I think is really, really important in any particular class, but particularly when you're dealing with controversial issues. The teaching environment, or I should say teaching is an art in the sense that I think any teacher really has to take the time to get to know the audience that they're trying to engage. And I think once that is done successfully, that it can make the teaching of the content that much easier, and I think that much more interesting, both for the professor and for the students. And again, having students introduce themselves has nothing to do with the content of any particular class, but it's all about creating an environment where students feel comfortable with each other and with myself, which is key if I want them to actually reveal a little bit about themselves. Be willing to think out loud. Be willing to hear me correct them a bit, or even be willing to hear their colleagues, their peers, respond to them in ways that are constructive but critical.